Hello, hello, and welcome to Game 3 of the Root Gaming Warzone Grand Final, sponsored by DreamHost. $3,500 on the line. We've already seen Demaga get the third place victory against Torrent for $500. And right now we have White Raw one game away from that $2,000 first place prize. Sen is 3 games away from that $2,000 first place prize, as he is currently down 0-2. But next map's going to be Lost Temple. Very close map, I think, in terms of who has the advantage. A lot of Zergs still abusing that big mass Mutalisk style, but Protosses have recently become quite resilient to it. Without any further delay, let us go into this next game. Here we are. Map, again, is Lost Temple. Duckload Ra, aka White Ra, in the right position as the red Protoss pieces in the north. We have Softball, the blue Zerg. Already, I would likely suspect that Softball is going to be trying to 14 hatch, as we do see this Overlord scouting left first. It wants to scout this closer position first. Closer by ground, that is. Sure, the right position is closer by air, but checking the more concerning left side of the map first is a wise choice there for a little Zergy player. We do see that Duckload is doing his usual pylon close to the main thing, helps defend against 6 and 7 pools, and eventually you can even still wall off here with your second or third gateway and cybernetics core. We see a little bit of an unusual Overlord on 10, Extractor trick on 10 to bring him to 11 drones early on. Don't see that too commonly on the American servers. Most players do make that Overlord on 9 food, but still, stylistic differences pretty neato in StarCraft 2. Does look like a gateway now going down on 12 for Duckload. He's beginning to send that probe out and absolutely does not even suspect that his opponent is up in the north position. Let's keep an eye on Sen and see if he is in fact going to invest in that 14 hatch of the expansion. We do see one drone out right now, even making a 15th drone, and there it goes. It's now heading over. Going to be very difficult for White Raw to be able to stop this. Even if he does try to do some sort of cannon gateway business, he's going to end up scouting his opponent last, almost always. So we do now see chrono boosting going down on the Nexus. He's sending out another probe, wants to build that pylon at the ramp, begin that wall off going, and there it is again with great placement. And we do see Sen building his 14 hatch in that first game on Metalopolis. That cannon cheese was won because Duckload canceled the assimilator. No chance to cancel it now. But even then, we do see that Softball is parking that drone down at the bottom of the ramp. Still does not want to be walled in by 2 pylons and have a Zealot come and ruin his day. We do see that probe just slip right on up, wants to see the timing on that spawning pool. It sees that it's normal. It's about halfway done. Cybernetics core now going down in the wall off at the front. No Zealot even being started yet. There it finally goes down. Pretty early gas as well for Sen. He is one of those players that does like getting the gas a touch early. Does things like get a little layer a little bit faster, get the speed a little bit faster. Overlord spots absolutely everything going on. So at this point in the game, both players know exactly what his opponent is up to. The probe is going to try to do a little bit of damage right now, see if he can turn the tides, but no, the drone actually decides that he is going to repel. 2 Zerglings coming out, as well as 2 Queens. Very nicely timed economy, being able to do that right as the hatch does finish. Do you see, wow, 6 Zerglings. An interesting choice by Softball, aka Sen, to actually invest in that many Zerglings early on, but this is going to help if a Zealot does end up coming. This could turn out to be a big misstep for Sen. Most players just build 1 set of Zerglings and end up quite vulnerable to this sort of early pressure, but here we see more coming out. Wow, even a spine crawler. So here comes the Zealot. White Raw realizes and starts the full-out retreat. Can the Stalker get there in time, or can the Zerglings pinch it off? And it looks like White Raw just going to let himself get surrounded. There is one Stalker trying to advance up. We'll be able to do a little bit of cleanup on these Zerglings, but still, that is a pretty significant loss for White Raw because that shuts down his ability to be aggressive. But at the same time, White Raw knows Zergling speed is nowhere near done. It's safe to expand. Nothing Zerg can do about it, with the exception of make a ton of roaches and try to press hard early. But we do see that there is the speed going down for Sen. No, speed gets canceled. Wow, that's very, very surprising. Getting the layer up right away. That is very, very cool. Anyways, it looks like we are going to be continuing to expand here for White Raw. Throwing down the gateways. Looks like he is not doing anything too out of the ordinary. Getting those extra gateways up right now. Needs to complete that wall off at the front of his base. I do love the fact that players still are avoiding doing these big Forge first openings. I really, really love when players are, Forge at all at the entrance. I love people who go cannon free only units. So this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool at this point in time. There's the gateway being morphed into a warp gate. Very fast expand coming up for White Ra. But still, Sen is looking to be in good position to get his Spire up quickly, if that is what he chooses to do. Nothing but drones being made, and considering that no Zergling speed was had, this is going to be probably a pretty big mass spine crawler defense. So I do like that play quite a bit. Duckload now getting his Robo facility up. We've seen him do this before. He gets the fast robotics facility and doesn't do any deviations until he sees exactly what his opponent's doing. And look at this, a Hydralisk Den. Very uncommon to see that on this map. Extremely uncommon to see that fast of a Hydralisk Den with the no Zergling speed defense. Cool stuff coming up from Sen. He's even getting more spine crawlers. The one thing that is possible in this situation is to do what we call the creep highway, the Overlord highway, spreading out a bunch of speed overlords and going for a massive Hydralisk push quickly. It's hard to deal with a lot of Hydralisks when you are low on gateway count, so we will see if that does end up being the case. Either way, Groove Spine already going down. Is there any speed upcoming? Maybe he'll even go for a Nidus Worm. And there it is. There's the Nidus Network going down for Sen. Very uncommon play. Cool stuff that we're seeing right here. Might even get some Overlords in there to spread the creep, but we're seeing, look at that, one observer coming out. White Ra has no idea at all about it, sending all of those observers to the side to pick off the Overlord. Has no clue that this could possibly be coming. We do see that Nidus Network getting pretty close to finished. What will Sen's play be? Is he going to go for an early all-in? Is he going to try to break his opponent's main, or is he going to try to take the islands? Both would be acceptable plays right now. I mean, this is a very, very sophisticated opening coming up from Sen, but he's got to be careful. It's a little bit risky. We do see that one Overlord is coming up right now, and there's the Nidus Worm up on the high ground. Very weird play. This is so cool. I love it when Zerg players do this sort of thing. We see Hydrals getting loaded in. And a Queen. He could begin using creep tumors into his opponent's main. He could easily creep up this center area. That would be just totally awesome. Now we do see the Hydrals beginning to work their way on those assimilators. The probes are pulling back. The Queen almost has enough energy to throw down some sort of fancy creep tumorage. We do see the expand on the opposite end of the map from Sen, not using this Nidus Network in the usual way, but still. That Queen now gets loaded back on in, will get pooped out the other end and returned back to home, where it can begin doing larva vomiting, doing creep spreading in that fashion. But this Hydralis on the high ground business is very, very cool. 3 gas, 4 Protoss. And look at the mineral count for Duckload. He has absolutely no way to spend that gas, and somehow complete disorganization from Duckload, not even mining gas in the main. Hydralis on the high ground. This is so weird. And blah, 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 continues to spit things out. And look at this. Sen using great positioning to get the better arc, having fewer units of fewer units of White Ra's firing at once. Great control, could even begin doing some transfuses when it has enough energy. Well, unless that thing dies. But I mean, this is such an awkward spot to be in as White Ra. White Ra still hasn't realized this total mess up in the main. Gosh, had so many idle units for so long. There's the Roach Warren coming up for Sen now. All Hydralisks have been produced at this point in time. A lot of drones coming out as well for Sen. Still abusing this high ground. Now getting an Overseer. He can easily pick off these observers. You never see that sort of thing. Did he just accidentally kill one of his own units? Sen has actually used a spine crawler to inadvertently kill one of his own queens in a tournament twice. So I definitely am a little bit overly aware of the fact that that is so possible with our good friend Sen. There's the Zergling Speed, the Burrow, the Glial Reconstitution. There are more Hydralis up on the high ground. No gas for you, White Ra. Have never seen this kind of play utilized. Such a painful strategy to deal with as Protoss. Is the range even up yet? Not started. So that means that these Hydralis have the same range as the Colossus, can easily repel them just by pulling back and controlling properly. So there they pull back right now. He runs up, he starts target firing. No, doesn't quite target fire much of anything. Wow, nice shot off on that Colossus. It looks like Sen did not end up controlling that reasonably at all. And White Ra, King of Resilience, taking his own gold expansion. This left expo is up for Sen. Could take a fourth soon. No units really being produced at this phase for Softball. Just trying to manage this little entrance here. Now has some roaches that popped out at the 11th hour, but not enough. The Colossus with 8 kills did manage to defend that attack properly. There's 17 roaches being made right now for Softball. And look at that. Look at this Spire from Sen. So late. Very uncommon at this phase in the game, but you know what? If Protoss has been running on 3 geysers, I mean, look at this. This is the first gas that's ever been mined from this. Protoss on 3 geysers just ain't going to have that many Colossi. So there's the first Colossus out. The second one trundling his way up to join. The roach count is getting ever higher from Sen. And do not forget that a Nidus network is in the main base of Sen. He could easily Nidus into White Ra's back and do a lot of damage. This army is small and needs to stick together. Here, a whole bunch of roaches now beginning to take down the destructible rocks. Sen trying to up that expansion count. There's the evolution chamber almost finishing that +1. Another hatch going down for Sen. Second evolution chamber can begin getting that armor upgrade. There it goes down now. Another Colossus coming up from White Ra. At this resource station we see, wow, Sen is actually not that far ahead of his opponent, despite that very cool early harassment action. And here it comes, an Overlord. There's the Nidus Worm. It's already getting blasted down, but a whole bunch of units are now moving through the center of the map in the production. We do see that that one Nidus Worm will be able to get taken down, but that was not even Sen's intention. He is trying to be as aggressive as he can, and now that that is taken down, it looks like the Overlord is continuing to advance. Might just try to re-Nidus network at that backside. More gateways going down, but all the units are committed to the front of the base. Corruptors coming up as well. No gas, even mining. Sen is so aggressive with Zerg. Incredibly fun to watch him play. Could throw down another Nidus Worm. That would be very effective, but the problem is that this one Nidus Worm is so far back. A little burrow healing for these roaches, as we do see they heal super fast while burrow. Trying to keep my eyes on that production tab in the top left. Want to see whether those Nidus networks end up coming down. More Colossi coming up from Duckload. And interestingly, the tables have turned from the usual play of Duckload, who seems to always be getting exactly the army he wants, with the Zerg always feeling nervous and worried. But here it is the exact opposite. Protoss is now moving out, hoping to do a lot of damage with the attack. But look at the roach count from Sen sprinting up, picking off all these units at the front. The Zealots are caught up at the north side, can't do a lot of damage. The Stalker count is just plummeting for White Ra, and look at this play by Sen. Just chews through the whole army, more Corruptors, and no, it looks like White Ra ends up reinforcing in time. Can the Corruptors pick this off in time? It is going to be close, and Sen trying to reinforce with as many roaches as he can. White Ra smartly getting some Immortals in that mix, trying to pick those off. He then target fires that Immortal, it gets taken down. More Zerglings incoming, but we see that this production from Sen is through the roof. Has so many hatches out right now. Target firing with roaches, picks off the Colossus, pulls back yet again. White Ra is not giving up with this aggression, advancing forward so fast, doing huge amounts of damage. I have no idea if Sen can possibly defend against this. And it looks like, oh my gosh, Sen, who was in a great position, getting 18 roaches out, that might be enough to hold on to defend somehow. He might be able to stay alive. The target firing is just enormous. Where are those 18 roaches when you need them? The Colossi continuing to advance. Sen is just in an almost unwinnable position. Duckload just can do no wrong in this matchup. That very creative early strategy just is not enough, and I cannot believe that Sen might get 3-0'd right now. That would be just a tragic end to the series, and it looks like White Ra now advancing forward, heading for the jugular of his opponent. 14 roaches en route, and there's the good game. White Ra does it. He has successfully 3-0'd his opponent. White Ra seems to never really be able to lose. That was a remarkable series right there by White Ra. I'm questioning whether or not it was a best of 7 or a best of 5. I was told best of 5. Just want to make sure that that is the case, because that would be hilarious if I've been declaring that entire time and that turned out, in fact, to be wrong. But either way, I'm just blown away with that resilience displayed by White Ra. The fact that he is just able to hold on despite having all this harassment and all this pressure and timing push at just the right time, Zerg looked to be in an amazing position with the Nidus networking on the high ground, the Nidus worming in the main, and then suddenly, absolutely no problem whatsoever. I mean, just holding on, doing the counterplay. So that was very, very impressive. We will be taking, of course, a little break. Big congrats to White Ra, who I believe has just won the tournament. How embarrassing. Either way, see you in just a sec. Whatever, White Ra wins the tournament 3-0. Huge congrats to White Ra. My sincerest apologies for that little bit of a mistake. Apparently, my replay set was spoilered, which means that, of course, there were more replays than there were games in the tournament, just to make sure that I don't know the results beforehand. But they were a little bit oddly named, so I got confused at the last second, but indeed, White Ra, congratulations on your $2,000 win for first place, and Sen for your $1,000 second place win. Yep, thank you very much for watching the Root Gaming Warzone tournament sponsored by DreamHost. Big thanks to DreamHost for putting up that $3,500 prize pool. If you would like to rewatch any of those games, check out the archives at day9tv.blip.tv. I'm Day9. I'm heading out. Peace.